Before we start looking at the graphics cards, I had to make a change to the original clock. Sometimes the original clock can go into an unknown state. Now this didn't occur until I started to build up a couple of circuits for the graphics card. Now I'll show you the circuits that I built up here, and we will cover these over the next few videos. I found that sometimes with JK flip-flops and also with counters, the state of the JK flip-flop would change in an erratic manner, and sometimes a counter would count up an extra value without there being a change on the input. Now this only occurred when I built up this circuit here, and it hadn't occurred in any other circuit, although I was made aware of it a few months back, and I knew at some point it would have to be changed. Now I'm not going to talk through all the details of that, the new clock and the issue with the old clock here in this video. I will add it in a video in the appendix section. But if you take a look at the new clock, you'll see it looks like this. Now this isn't my design. This was designed by another student from the first course called Timothy Morgan, and he's kindly allowed me to use it. Now when I changed the clock, I checked to see that all previous programs were working, and everything was working fine, so there's not really going to be any change in what has gone before. There's only one issue that I found which was an easy fix, and that was the keyboard here. Whenever I installed the new clock, I found that the keyboard would always miss out the very first character. So if I typed in hello world, it would only save the hello world, it would miss out the first H. But I get round that quite easily by changing the triggering for this keyboard from rising edge to a falling edge. So that was the only change I had to make after I installed the new clock. So if you're working through your own design, you may well want to check the clock. You may not run into these problems, but if you do, then you can always access this other clock here and try using this other clock with the keyboard here set at falling edge. Also, ensure that whenever you start the new clock or use the new clock, that you check and make sure you have the edge triggering correct on these devices. Now, as I say, I don't want to go through the details of the clock in this video. It was an addition that I've had to make, which was unforeseen, and I will cover the details of it in the appendix section. So that's all for this video. Thank you for listening. I'll get you on the next video. Goodbye.